process. It is not a sprint, but a marathon. Ladies and gentlemen, we are living in a Hobbesian world, a world marked by anarchy, change, and constant flux in the political and strategic permutations. Unilateralism, nationalism, xenophobia, and populism are on the rise and creating uncertainties not witnessed on the global scene for decades. The multilateral arrangements built after the Second World War seem to be under assault by powerful forces. Technology has transformed the way we humans had been living for millennia. The rate and speed of change is the constant that we have to contend with all the time. The center of gravity of global economic power is shifting from the west to the east. Some pundits have been arguing that we are at a stage of history where we will have to face conflict between a rising power and an established power. And I don't have to dilate further on that. Major power rivalries, regional tensions, protracted unresolved disputes, and hegemonic ambitions illustrate the state of play in our own region. On the positive side, ours is also a region with tremendous potential for development and regional connectivity. It is in such a daunting environment that Pakistan's foreign policy priorities are defined and effective solutions crafted to deal with the continuing challenges while taking benefit of emerging opportunities. Against this backdrop, let me share some key foreign policy areas where we have actively pursuing our objectives shaped by our security and development imperatives. The overarching framework of our foreign policy continues to be encapsulated by Qaid-e-Azam dictum of peace within, peace without. In its operationalization, we have the domestic priorities of people-centric economic development agenda and creation of a welfare state. In its external dimension, peaceful neighborhood remains the defining construct. Ladies and gentlemen, to our east, as you are aware, Pakistan's relationship with India has remained challenging as ever. On 5th August 2019, India sought to further consolidate its illegal and immoral occupation of the Indian-occupied Kashmir in violation of numerous UN Security Council resolutions and international law. India's intention is to alter internationally recognized disputed status of the occupied Indian Kashmir and to change its demographic structure and identity. The inhuman lockdown of 8 million people continuing for over 70 days is imposing unspeakable sufferings on the people of Indian-occupied Jammu and Kashmir. Prime Minister Imran Khan made a strong case at the UN General Assembly that the curfew of Indian-occupied Kashmir must be immediately lifted and the Kashmiris given the right to self-determination. I have been personally engaged with foreign ministers and international dignitaries from across the world and sensitizing them about the grave tragedy unfolding in Indian-occupied Kashmir. We've also raised international awareness about the prospect of false flag operation and the grave risk posed to peace and security by India's unilateral actions. The desperate attempt by India to portray a situation of normalcy in Indian-occupied Kashmir is in sharp contrast to reports of torture and detention by the international media. They are indicative of a reprehensible Indian design to spin an alternative reality to mislead the world. Similarly, reprehensible is the fiction being advanced by Indian authorities regarding restoration of mobile phone service in Indian-occupied Kashmir. As you would know, they initiated it, and within 24 hours had to close down the SMS service. We will continue to stand by Kashmiris in their just struggle for realization of the right to self-determination. We and the Kashmiris remain grateful to all those governments, international and regional human rights organizations, civil society members, and the international media who have raised their voice against India's illegal and unilateral actions and supported the resolution of Kashmir dispute according to the UN Security Council resolutions and wishes of the Kashmiri people. Ladies and gentlemen, India is also pursuing a massive build-up of its nuclear and conventional military forces and acquiring destabilizing capabilities. These include nuclearization of Indian Ocean and deployment of anti-ballistic missiles, deployment and testing of debris-generating anti-satellite weapons, and a constant increase in the readiness, sophistication, and diversification of all types of delivery systems and platforms. This country resorts to warmongering and issues nuclear threats, including for short-term domestic political gains. It has repeatedly signaled changes to its declaratory nuclear posture while flirting with preemptive and counterforce tendencies. This is in addition to its already existing aggressive military doctrines that envisage war fighting below the perceived nuclear threshold. It refuses to bilaterally engage in a dialogue and rejects proposals aimed at risk reduction, confidence building, and nuclear and missile restraint. These hegemonic pretensions, coupled with a history of aggression against its neighbors, present a clear and present danger to regional stability and to Pakistan's security. Pakistan desires peace and strategic stability in order to focus on its socio-economic development agenda. Our conduct continues to be defined by restraint and responsibility, and the avoidance of an arms race. Pakistan, however, cannot remain oblivious to the evolving security dynamics in its immediate neighborhood. Ladies and gentlemen, turmoil and protracted war in Afghanistan has immeasurably affected Pakistan and its society. Pakistan maintained for a long time, and there is no military solution to this conflict in Afghanistan. We are gratified that our position is vindicated, and there is today an across-the-board agreement in favor of a political settlement in Afghanistan. Pakistan is fully supporting peace and reconciliation to be achieved through an Afghan-led, Afghan-owned process. We have supported all rounds of Afghan peace talks in Doha and Abu Dhabi. We hope that the US-Taliban talks recommence and lead to intra-Afghan negotiations. China, Afghanistan, and Pakistan convened the third trilateral foreign ministers dialogue on the 7th of September. We welcome the agreements reached in the dialogue and hope that deeper cooperation is forged in matters of development and connectivity with Afghanistan. A senior Taliban delegation visited Pakistan recently, and we urge them to work for resumption of talks with the US and undertake intra-Afghan negotiations. We are encouraged by their response. In essence, Pakistan remains committed to supporting all efforts aimed at having an Afghanistan at peace with itself and at peace with its neighbors. We will continue to support the reconciliation process, extend development assistance, and help create conditions in which about 3 million Afghan refugees in Pakistan can go back to their homeland in dignity and honor. Ladies and gentlemen, China remains our closest friend and a steadfast partner. Pakistan-China all-weather strategic cooperative partnership is an anchor for peace and stability in the region. This relationship has expanded and diversified a great deal in the past few years and will continue to reinforce our ties to protect and promote our strategic, economic, trade, people-to-people, and investment interests.